Welcome back to DK Sports Radio. You're listening to The Steelers Show, hosted today by Chris Carter, NFL analyst here at DKPittsburghSports.com, and I am flying solo, ladies and gentlemen. Dear subscribers of DK Pittsburgh Sports and fellow listeners listening through our apps, it's a solo show. Dale Lally is enjoying sunny Florida at the owners' meeting. I envy him greatly because it's rainy in Pittsburgh. Though it's nice today. As I sit right now, it's about 50-some degrees here in Pittsburgh, which is pretty lively for what it's been, and it's the end of March. My birthday was last week, so that's a happy day. But enough about me. Let's talk about the Steelers. So everyone knows we talked about previously they signed John Bostic at inside linebacker and Morgan Burnett at safety. They're two big free agency moves. Arguably, they're two biggest free agency moves for quite some time now, maybe since D'Angelo Williams. But John Bostic, a run stopper at first, but with the speed to cover in space. And to drop back and be effective in the middle of the field. He will challenge whoever they draft probably in the first round as a starter, along with Vince Williams, who presumably you would assume he's back at the starter role. Morgan Burnett is the strong safety that can play anywhere within the box. He was used at linebacker, slot corner, covered tight ends. He did all of that. And so the debate right now between and that you've been listening to here on DK Pittsburgh Sports is whether that move, putting Morgan Burnett, should he just be the strong safety, and should Sean Davis just be put at free safety? And what we're going to lead off with this first segment about is the future of the Steelers defense, because this also is relevant to what's been going on with the owners meeting and the stories that Dale Lally has been reporting about from his talks with the owners, Mike Tomlin, Kevin Colbert, et cetera, et cetera. So one thing that you should understand, and I'm the X's and O's guy. I love X's and O's in football. It's what I do. When you talk Steelers football and you think back in the past about how they lined up in defense, they used to stick to their 3-4 defense. If they brought out extra DBs, it would change up everything. But you remember Casey Hampton, Aaron Smith, Kimo Von Ohoff, Brett Kiesel, like those kind of guys used to line up and just maul people. Well, the day and age of the NFL has forced the Steelers to kind of come out of that more often than not and rely more on these sub packages, which we call them sub packages because we say that they're not the normal defensive formations, but they've become that. The defensive ends that normally would be the edge guys for the defensive line, and they'd work with the outside linebackers and Cam Hayward and Stephon Tuitt. They become those interior guys, and then the linebackers bump out and they're the edge men. But what's happened is now you're seeing, instead of 4 second defensive backs in the secondary, you see 5 and sometimes 6 defensive backs lining up and rotating all over the place. And what the Steelers have done, they've released Mike Mitchell, they've released William Gay, Robert Golden's gone. They're getting faster guys and guys that are known for being covermen. Cam Sutton, and that's one thing. When people talk about cornerback and people are considering should the Steelers draft a cornerback, right now you should be looking at whether look at their depth chart and realize that's an effective group that they have right now. Artie Burns is your number 1. Hayden is your number 2. You got Mike Hilton in the slot. Backing up Mike Hilton in the slot is Cam Sutton. You have effectively 4 cornerbacks right there. And then you still have Brian Allen, who looks like a great athlete. The team really likes him. They kept him off the practice squad because they want to develop him as a corner. He's 6'1". He has really good speed. He has really good ball skills. Used to be a wide receiver in college. And you're looking at a guy that could be a perfect fit for that number 2 corner spot whenever Joe Hayden feels like leaving or retiring or whatever. So what's interesting is the Steelers need to boost themselves up at safety, and that guys that can rotate around, help the linebackers out, because we know Ryan Shazier won't play in 2018. Maybe there's a chance he comes back in 2019. If he recovers from his injuries and he continues to progress as fast as he has been. But what you're looking at with Sean Davis and Morgan Burnett, those are 2 safeties that could be strong or be free safeties, in that they could play in the box or they could drop back and help in the middle of the field. But the Steelers are still lacking that X-factor middle field, center fielder type of safety that can play in the middle of the field and then jump a route from about 5 yards away and get in between a receiver and a quarterback and completely flip around an offensive play that they thought was going to work. So that's a guy that you should be looking for the Steelers to consider drafting. Of course, everyone's looking at they need to draft inside linebackers, which they do. But the real concern that we're talking about here in DK Pittsburgh Sports is who's going to have the best value, who's going to fall to you. There's 4 linebackers that we have graded that are definite first-round inside linebacker grades. Those are Roquan Smith and Tremaine Edmonds. Both we assume will be gone. Rashaan Evans and Leighton Van Der Esch are your next two. There's a question if they'll be gone. One of them might be because there is a need for inside linebacker for at least 8 teams. And I went through and counted them, and we're saying 8, and that's being favorable to the Steelers, and that there might be more. At 8 teams that could draft an inside linebacker with their first pick. Now, whether they'd reach to go get Rashaan Evans or Leighton Van Der Esch that higher than what the Steelers would at 28, that remains to be seen. But what we're saying is keep an eye on how the Steelers are forming on defense. They're starting to use their safeties more and more as those extra linebackers and trusting them to be able to help against the run, but also cover those faster receivers or those faster running backs that play like receivers when they first line up in the backfield, then are motioned into the slot, which is something you see the Patriots do a lot. So I think the Steelers are very much preparing for the future of the NFL, and especially you can see a player like Cam Sutton, who I previewed with Carter's Classroom, showing some college tape. He's a guy that can play all over the field, just like Sean Davis and Morgan Burnett. He can play in the slot. He can play back and help. But the thing is, Cam Sutton can also play outside the numbers at cornerback. So I think that they got a lot in store right now. And what's really interesting is to see how this secondary shapes, because for years that was the bane of the defense. That was what everyone picked at. And I think right now with the youth movement that this team has, and the youth movement that will continue, because I'm pretty sure their top 2 picks will be defense unless a quarterback falls or a superstar running back or wide receiver falls to one of those picks. I'm pretty sure those 2 picks will be defense, and this defense that was extremely young in 2017 is going to be even younger in 2018. But we'll be right back after these messages, and we want to remind you that the Steelers Show is brought to you by, as always, by MyBookie.ag. MyBookie.ag, your #1 online sports betting source. Go there right now, and you can use the promo code DKRadio to get a 50% bonus on your deposit. MyBookie.ag does all the sports. Baseball season, it's opening day as I speak right now, so you can get on all the baseball action until next October. So get ready for that. It's insane. Hockey playoffs are coming up. NBA's playoffs are coming up. Lots of good action on MyBookie.ag, where if you go, you play, you win, and you get paid. But we'll be right back, continue to talk about what's been going on at these owners' meetings for the Steelers.
It's time to cash in on non-stop sports action with MyBookie.ag. They have in-game live betting on nearly every sporting event, plus MyBookie.ag will match your deposit with a bonus up to 100%. With decades of expertise and no-hassle payouts, you'll experience the greatest customer service in the business, guaranteed. Use promo code DKRadio to activate your bonus of up to 100%. Call 844-900-BETS or visit mybookie.ag to open an account. Sign up today.
Miller Lite is the original light beer, and we'll always brew it to have more taste, with only 96 calories and 3.2 carbs. Because we believe that if you compromise on taste, you can taste the compromise. Miller Lite. Hold true.
Great beer, great responsibility. 2018 Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Average analysis, 12 fluid ounces. Less than 1 gram protein, 0 grams fat.
What I want from my public accounting firm is big ideas.
But I don't want to lose the personal attention.
My company needs global capabilities.
From a firm with local ownership.
And I want to work with industry experts.
Who take the time to understand my unique challenges. And that's what sets Schneider Downs apart. Expertise for the most complex business issues, with the service you need every day. To learn how our big thinking with a personal focus can help your company, visit schneiderdowns.com.
If you're one of the thousands of Western Pennsylvanians who love to get outdoors, then you need to check out this amazing new website, stepoutside.org. Hi, I'm Dan Kovacevic of DK Sports Radio. I'm born and raised in Pittsburgh. I know about the outdoor life that's available to all of us in Western Pennsylvania. Learn where, when, and how you can go camping, hiking, hunting, take part in power sports, shooting sports, water sports in your local community, across our region, across the country at stepoutside.org.
In Pittsburgh, we bleed black and gold and love our city. Born in Pittsburgh and now celebrating 130 years in business, Henny Jewelers is proud to be your premier jewelry store. Whether it's choosing that watch you've always wanted or you're searching for the ring that was made for her, trust Henny Jewelers. Visit our store on Walnut Street in Shadyside to see our extensive inventory of designer engagement rings, watches, and one-of-a-kind jewelry. For more, go to hennyjewelers.com and follow on social.
Embarrassed by that stained carpet in your office? Tired of looking at your dull, dirty floor? My Floor Needs is here to fix that. With years of experience and 24/7 service, My Floor Needs offers stripping and waxing, carpet, tile, grout, and concrete cleaning, as well as polishing and buffing services. Call 888-67-MY-FLOOR or email info@myfloorneeds.com for a free estimate and get your floors looking like new again. Whatever your floor needs, call 888-67-MY-FLOOR.
Does your company ever miss its sales goals or struggle getting new business?
Is it tough to hire or to give reps the right tools?
Hi, I'm Dan, and I started Engaged Prospect right here in Pittsburgh to help companies like yours.
And I'm Sam. We're helping companies hit sales goals and grow their businesses.
Think of us as your inside sales team.
Our clients are experts in their fields. We're experts in inside sales.
Give us a call today at 412-715-5151.
Or visit us online at engagedprospect.com/DK.
It's been 50 years since the Summer of Love, but if you're not performing as well as you'd like, check out NEDforless.com. I'm Eric Cushy of Curtis Pharmacy. Don't pay premium prices for the little blue pill. So Denafil, the same active ingredient as in Viagra, costs 80% less. NEDforless.com. All we need is your physician's name. We do the rest. Free shipping too. NDDforless.com. Curtis Pharmacy, Western PA's Better Way Pharmacy. CurtisPharmacy.com.
Welcome back to DK Sports Radio. You're listening to The Steelers Show. Chris Carter, NFL analyst here, flying solo on the show. Before we continue, we want to remind you that this Steelers coverage, as always, is brought to you by Henny Jewelers. Henny Jewelers, your jewelers on Walnut Street in Shadyside. Henny Jewelers, your jewelers for life. But as we keep going, let's get into more about what's been going on with the talks of these owner meetings. Mike Tomlin opened up a lot during the owner meetings and to the press. And Dale got some good stories. One, he made a statement saying that the Steelers are open to drafting Ben Roethlisberger's successor in the first round of the draft. Now, of course, everyone's thinking, well, who does that mean? Does that mean Mason Rudolph? Does that mean they're trading up? No. What all that means, ladies and gentlemen, is that they are putting out the official smokescreen. Yeah, guys, we're not afraid to other NFL teams, but he's putting out the official smokescreen like, hey, every other GM in the league, we're not afraid to take a quarterback if he falls to us. So if you want your quarterback, you better take him while you can, because if you drop one of our guys down to us, we'll go get him. Which will, whenever you make another team uncertain about which direction you're going, that adds to your favor as far as to one, tradability, making other people nervous, and also it may encourage people to take more picks at a position that you don't even really care about. So the Steelers, they know who they want, they know who they're grading at. Now, of course, Mike Tomlin just today, as I'm speaking, was at the Louisville Pro Day and was reportedly pretty happy. He looked pretty jubilant to see Lamar Jackson working. I like Lamar Jackson. I know a lot of people get down on him. They say, oh, he can't read defenses. I disagree. I watched that guy. He reads defenses. I think the biggest thing is that if you look at his tape, Louisville's receivers were just dropping passes, not completing plays for him. But that guy's a talent. I think he's the most naturally gifted athlete among quarterbacks in this NFL draft, and I think he could end up being the best quarterback of this draft class. But a lot of ways to go with there. We've seen other guys that have been that talented not work out. I just think that he needs to be on a good team, and I think that the Steelers could be that team. But moving forward, other things that Tomlin talked about. One, he said that the doors open for Eli Rogers' return. Again, these are, if you want to read more about this, Dale Lawley's been covering it like crazy. He's been in Orlando this whole week. But Eli Rogers, suffered an ACL tear in the playoff game, which was really sad because this was his contract year. He had a tough start to the year. He fumbled a punt return. Again, it goes against the Bears, and which helped give the Bears an early score in a game, one of the few games that the Steelers lost. He really regained himself, had a few key blocks as a receiver, which is odd to say, but he really started to come through for the Steelers, and especially even catching the ball late in the season. But the team that's stacked with receivers, and Antonio Brown, Martavis Bryant, Juju Smith-Schuster, and then you got a guy like Darius Hayward-Bay that's kind of like, hey, I can do whatever you ask of me. It's tough to say Eli Rogers, hey, we'll keep you around. But the door's open for him because I think they like him and they like what he brings to the table, and they know he's going to be cheap, and I think that's the biggest thing. But moving on about more stuff that Tom has been opening up. He talked about the changes to staff and how he really wanted more teacher style of coaches. Like, you brought in Darryl Drake, who used to be Hines Ward's receivers coach at Georgia. Brought in Carl Dunbar as the new defensive line coach, and Tom Bradley as the new defensive back coach. You got these older coaches that are coming in, and they're going to be trying to change the tone of thing. Now, the funny thing is that all these guys are college guys. You look at Carl Dunbar, who's out of Alabama. Tom Bradley out of Penn State. These are the kind of coaches that they're bringing in, trying to change the pace. They want to find new ways to have success. He also opened up about Randy Fichtner and about the impact of moving on from Todd Haley. And he gave credit to Todd Haley, for what he was able to do and to help protect Ben Roethlisberger. But ultimately, he knows that the NFL is a constantly moving league, and that the Steelers need to constantly move with it. And with the red zone problems that the Steelers had under Todd Haley, they need to find some other answers there. Otherwise, looking forward, there are also a lot of rule changes in the NFL this past weekend. Talk about the rule changes. Number one, of course, the Steelers are probably looking at is the imposed Jesse James rule, because the new legislation being proposed by the NFL, it would make it much easier for NFL receivers to complete the catch process instead of having to control it through the ground. Essentially, all you would need to do is get your 2 feet down and make another act of catching the ball. So, like, if you had possession of the ball, it was clearly gripped between your hands or between a hand and another appendage or part of your body, and you got those 2 feet down. If you reached out for the goal line, that would count as your football move, and that's it. And it doesn't matter if you hit the ground and roll and let it go later. That's the extent of it, and it's being called the Jesse James rule. Apparently, according to Art Rooney II, he came out and he said that that's what's going to happen with that. Of course, Jesse James is kind of like, well, I'm glad to hear that, but at the same time, what does that do for him or the Steelers fans out there? So it's kind of like, sour grapes, but I guess the NFL, one thing I guess that people can kind of sit back and rest their hat on is that the Steelers kind of opened up the NFL about how ridiculous their standards of what is a catch and what isn't a catch has been over the past several years. I'm sure Des Bryant and Calvin Johnson also would like to get their name in on that rule. But other thing that came about, of course, is that the Steelers are in support of the new rule to ban using the helmet as a weapon. The NFL is proposing legislation that would make, at any point in time, if a defensive player uses the crown of their helmet to contact an opponent to the head, that would immediately cause a penalty. It doesn't matter where on the field that would occur. I've always wanted to basically give a little bit of temperament to people that celebrate these types of rules. I think it's important to increase the safety of the game, as it's not safe enough. But I do think that there is an element that people have to understand, is that when you're calling someone dirty because they had a knee-jerk reaction to a guy that's like 3 feet taller than, not 3 feet, but like 6 inches taller than them, trying to make a catch over the middle, or 6 inches shorter than them and just that much faster, and you have a half a second to make a decision on how to commit to how to tackle him. It's not that easy to decide where your full body is going to go and to know how they're going to react, because so many hits that end up being helmet to helmet are when guys, when a player target, and this happened to Mike Mitchell a few times, he would target someone in their lower chest or even their gut with his body, and then that player would then bring their head down, and then all of a sudden it's helmet to helmet contact. It's not dirty, it's just it happens. So I think that's something that has to be considered as far as where it is. But I do think it's important. The NFL is trying its best to at least fight the lawsuits that are going to be coming from people if they continue to suffer more and more injuries. But lots going on at the owners' meetings. Dale should be back next week for us. And we got lots going on for you at DKPittsburghSports.com. I got a Carter's Classroom previewing Shaquem Griffin, the one-handed outside linebacker from University of Central Florida. Really, really talented young man. Ran a 4.38 40-yard dash in the NFL Combine. Get all the film on how he could contribute to the Steelers in the NFL Draft and where we think he should pick him if he's available, or they should pick him if he's available. But like I said, stay tuned to DKPittsburghSports.com. Opening day, Lance Lysowski is in Detroit waiting for the Pirates' first pitch of the season. Dejan Kovacevic will be with him. Of course, Penn's making their push for the playoffs. We got a lot of great coverage coming up for you at DK Pittsburgh Sports. And, of course, the Steelers getting you ready every day of the draft. From Chris Carter here at Highmark Stadium Studios for DK Pittsburgh Sports, Thanks for listening. Have a good day.